for me, that was just amazing because you'd have this fantastic brand affiliation in terms of quality of product, right? So that was really important.
Right.
How do you go about trying to create a blend when you are on the other side of the world, at the back end of COVID, you can't travel, you're sitting in the pool house of your home in Hawthorne East, dealing with a world-renowned manufacturer of cigars based in Esteli, Nicaragua? Not easy is the answer.
Yeah.
So the process was essentially me sort of coming up with the idea around the various blend profiles that I was looking for, and then working out what sort of blend profile initially I wanted to go through. And as Ferdinand said, my absolute initial concept was to create this Goldilocks flavour profile, not too heavy, not too light, not too spicy, not too creamy, because we wanted to make it into what we call the everyman cigar. So we wanted to be able to, as part of our mission, have everybody, whether you're a first-time trier of cigars or if you're an experienced enthusiast, we wanted it to be appealing to everyone.
Right.
So in going through and you think about how do you create a flavour profile, it's sort of like wine in a sense that what you do is you think about what flavours of the tobacco do you want to come through in the cigar.
Okay.
So that determines, do you want more creaminess, do you want more spiciness? That determines in a sense what parts of the plant that you use, because the tobacco plant has various leaves, and those different leaves actually have a different flavour intensity, and also in particular cases with regards to Nicaragua tobacco, a particular spice flavour to them as well. So some Nicaraguan tobaccos can be very spicy, right? So Ligero, which is at the top. Some of them are less spicy, so at the Seco and Viso sort of level.
Right.
And then you also have what's known as the wrapper, right? And so the wrapper in this case, as Ferdinand said, it's an Ecuadorian Habanos wrapper, which generally has a slightly more milder flavour profile with still a little bit of punch to it. It's very different to the O, which has a San Andreas wrapper from Mexico, which has much more chocolate cherry sweetness to it, without being sweet, but it has that more profile. So anyway, I actually said to Juan, we did it via Zoom, right? So we were on Zoom.
All by Zoom?
Yeah, all by Zoom.
Wow.
And I said, this is the flavour profile I want, took down some notes. Then probably, 8 weeks later, maybe 10 weeks later, I got delivery of 15 different cigars.
Okay.
Right? So sets of 5. So call it, 75 cigars. So 5 of one flavour, 5 of the next, 5 of the next, 5 of the next, 15. Went through, I tried all of those. I made exceptionally detailed notes on all of the cigars. The time, what I had eaten beforehand, the physical atmosphere, what mood I was in, what I was drinking with it.
That level of detail, did it come from your previous profession?
It's interesting. I'm a lawyer and investment banker by background.
Okay. So yeah.
So yes,
meticulousness is there.
Yes, meticulous is important. Detail's important to me. But as I keep saying, execution's number one, right? Because you can be meticulous in detail, but if you can't execute, forget it. It's all a waste of time.
Correct.
So it's about being able to transpose that data and desire in the design into a language that someone like Juan can then produce. Because if you just say creaminess, he's going to say, well, what the fuck does that mean, right?
Yeah.
He's going to say, well, so you have to be able to explain, well, I want more Seco, I want more Ligero, I want a percentage down, whatever. And also within the regions, I just knew, I hadn't yet been to Nicaragua, but I knew certain regions of plants in certain areas have different terroir, right? So terroir is like wines, same. So some of them will have a slightly more minerally flavour profile to them. Some of them will have a slightly more volcanic flavour to them, because obviously Nicaragua's got active volcanoes. Some of them will have a slightly more clay flavour. And the clay is not the flavour and the volcano is not the flavour, but it's the flavour profile that it creates through the nutrients that go up through the plant. And anyway, 15 then got down to 10. 10 then got down to 5. 5 we then used to reproduce another 15.
Right.
And I think in the end we went through about 30 different blends before we finally arrived on the one blend.
And how long was that time frame? From
about a year.
Time you got the first batch?
It's about a year.
Wow, okay.
it was about a year because it takes time for them to produce. It takes time. It has to settle. Now, normally you would settle cigars once they've been rolled for somewhere between most people let them settle for 90 days.
Yep.
These were done a bit quicker than that for obvious reasons. So you'd have to sort of expect how it was going to develop. But that was just the start of the journey because for me, I then, as soon as I was able to travel, I went over to Nicaragua.
Okay.
And I think I hold the world record now. In fact, I definitely hold the world record for the Australian who has travelled the most times to Nicaragua in any 12-month period. Because I went 8 times in 12 months to Nicaragua.
Wow. And how long were you? Each visit, how long were you staying?
It would depend between sometimes like a week and a half. Well, sometimes a week and a half, sometimes a few days. Because what I did is I made it my business to go out to the fields, to actually then look at the terroir, to taste and smell the dirt, to taste the plants, the leaves, the raw leaves, to go through and stay with the whole production process, to look at the whole rolling process, look at the whole fermentation process, look at the whole, what they call curing process or the pilon process, to look at the whole drying and aging process. So that I knew then in my mind when I was going to create the next round, how it was all going to come together.
I asked you to go down that journey because I suspected you might be a meticulous individual. I didn't know what your background was. And guys, this is literally the first time I'm meeting with Adam today, so I appreciate you taking the time, giving me that time,
it's a pleasure.
And bringing it on. But I wanted you to bring on that journey because I want everyone to understand what you put into making a cigar, and then how you poured yourself into it, coming from what you came out of. Let me ask Ferdinand a question on this just as well. Ferdinand, in terms of this cigar creation, where the point where you came on, tell us a little bit about that experience when you came on to League of Fat Bastards.
When I came on, the Series L was out. It had just been released in the US. So Singapore was the first country outside of the US where the L was available. I know Adam was already working on the Series O, so I have not been involved with the creation process, just with the sales and opening doors.
Sure.
But now soon we'll start working on the Series F.
Okay.
I'll be heavily involved in that.
Okay, great. Adam.
Yeah.
So let us know about you're both in this shot here. Let us know about what was your journey to come across to creating the cigar with its mission and intent, and in particular, I had something queued up in particular. Share with us your journey, but what was the one thing that one moment that made you say, you know what, I want to do it. I want to do it this way. You are a champion in men's mental health, but what was that one thing that said this is the way you want to do it?
Yep. So really quickly, sort of by background, as I mentioned, I was a lawyer, investment banker by background, then went into principal investments, focused on financial service businesses. So sort of like an asset trader in businesses that were in the financial services sector.
Successful at that, or?
I was reasonably successful at that. I was a first generation wealth creator. So when my wife and I got married, we had $486 in the bank. That was it. I don't come from money. I'm a direct descendant of Holocaust survivors.
Wow.
Interestingly, and I tell this story, my grandfather, so a lot of people would have heard of a book or a play called Schindler's List. Snow, have you heard of that, Schindler's List, right?
Of course.
Okay. So Oscar Schindler saved 1,862 Jewish men and women who were otherwise going to be executed by the Nazis. My grandfather was number 465 on Schindler's List.
Wow.
So I'm a direct descendant of Schindler's List.
Wow.
Anyway, I say that by the by. My grandmother also was a Holocaust survivor who survived 4 years in concentration camps. So the odds of me being here, like apart from the fact the odds of being born, I don't know, 4 billion in one, the odds of me being here are just like
astronomical.
400 billion to one. I don't know what it is, right? It's astronomical. Anyway, so very hard work ethic, very high pressure job, 3 children, very supportive wife, but still it's a wife. And so you have a lot of pressure, right? I was not a military person. I didn't serve like you did, Snow. And I pay my respects for that. I I was an ordinary guy, right? Just trying to work really hard for my family. But I grew up I'm 55, so as I was growing up, like I'm sure you were, Snow and Ferdy, we were taught as men we had to be stoic and we had to be strong and we had to just get through what we went through, and that was it, right?
Yes.
So I never really opened up and talked about any of the pressures, the stresses, the worries, the anguish, the concerns that I had during that whole period.
Because how could you have any? You were successful. You have all the career. Yes. How?
We had this
Yes.
outward mask that I was wearing, right? That we all wear as
Yes,
men,
yes, yes.
okay? Of success and whatever else. So from an outward perspective, what a fantastic life, you know? February 2001, I was at a holiday house that we have up on the Queensland Gold Coast, and I woke up one morning just in tears. I could not stop crying. I'd been involved in a particular business. That particular business didn't actually go well. It had failed. And, you know, in business, sometimes it fails, sometimes it works, right? Luckily, I've had a few more things that worked than they've failed. But anyway, it was probably more of a break in self-belief as a result of this failure. And I think that was the sort of the straw that broke the camel back. It wasn't the money or anything like that per se.
Right,
I mean,
right.
that hurts, but it was more around the pop of the self-belief and self-confidence, right? And
I'm
this
sorry.
stoicism.
What year was that?
This is 2001.
2002.
2002. February 2002.
2002, okay.
February 2002. Sorry, February
yeah.
2002. And I was in tears, and I just could not stop myself crying, and I suddenly felt like the whole world was caving in on me, that I had let my family down, that I'd let my children down, that I was a failure, that what I thought I knew, I know nothing, and I'm stupid, and why did I do this? And you know, I literally at that point broke, and I was unable to communicate with other people.